I request Mr. Rajiv Sehgal to welcome you all over here. Please welcome Mr. Rajiv Sehgal, Head Government Vertical.
Hi, good evening, everyone. We are here to go about celebrating you all, the IT community, which has been the big force behind bringing a transformation in society on the digital front. So, primarily, Logitech is an organization which manufactures and designs products. Logitech is an organization that manufactures and designs products that go about touching our everyday life, be it keyboards, be it mices, be it cameras, be it speakers, be it cameras which allow us to go about doing a video collaboration. The idea of this meet is primarily to go about getting all your experiences and to go about sharing your successes with us. So Logitech has created this platform, Happy at Work. And the reason why we call it Happy at Work is because Logitech has definitely, gone about impacting organizations. One of the organizations which has really been impacted by Logitech in terms of creating happiness has been the judiciary. I just go about sharing my experience with you all on judiciary. In the courts all across the country, we've been able to modernize them. We have cameras which are deployed in the courts with speakers and with mics, which enables the whole ecosystem of the court to be captured and to be thrown to the network, and it goes on to other locations like jails and hospitals, where you have people who are being tried, who are addressed from the jail. So what happens is that typically in the older times, you would have people who are being tried or being carried in big trucks and big buses being brought over to the courts, and then they are being tried out over there. That whole thing has stopped. What's happened is that it's impacted OPEX. In fact, the Punjab government has deployed about 70, has covered about 70 courts and locations within the state of Punjab and Haryana, and they went about showing a profits. They went about showing a saving of about 100 crores in a span of 9 months. Is that although the expenses which they were incurring in terms of fuel, in terms of manpower, in terms of security, has been taken care by simply having these cameras which are deployed in the courts, in the prisons and in the jails. So, other than bringing down the costs of the government, which right now needs more money to go about putting in the infrastructure to enable the growth in terms of infrastructure, you go about seeing a transformation on that particular front. Now, also in terms of elements, like for instance, there's a person who is in the jail. If his wife, wants to meet him for things like Karwa Chauth, or sister wants to go about addressing his brother who's probably locked up, she could go about addressing. She could get a view of the person who is in the jail by through Rakis and through Karwa Chauth, whatever activities which go about happening. So primarily, one of the biggest themes is that it has created joy in the life of people. He may be a person who is locked up in a jail, but still he gets an opportunity of speaking to his wife, speaking to his kids, and at the same time the government gets the opportunity of saving money in terms of ensuring that the monies are not spent in terms of bringing that person out from the courts into the out from the jails into the courts. And even the doctors who sometimes are pulled out from the hospitals, they can go about addressing the court from the hospital. They need not stop working in the hospital because their core ability is to go about delivering and making patients recover. So this is one of the areas which Logitech has really impacted. We have done the projects all over the country for all the courts and jails, and these products are not expensive. The camera which has been deployed in jails along with speakerphones is sub 25k, 25,000 bucks. It's not a very capital intensive investment which the courts have made. Courts are very sensitive to the spends. In fact, we all are. They work on Linux platform because Linux is a free and it's open source. They don't want to even go about spending on Microsoft. That's the kind of need courts and jails have in terms of their control. Right now they're working on Linux 8.0, which is a much higher platform, or maybe higher than that. And Logitech has shown its flexibility in terms of being able to work across platforms, be it your Microsoft, be it your Linux, be it your Androids. Now, the other place where we have created a lot of joy has been in the field of education. Education is one of the areas which typically, has been an area where we have really had our presence felt. be it school labs where you have thin clients, where you have keyboards and mice, where you have speakers, where you have headsets which are deployed in ecosystem, which is like one ecosystem or a lab in a school is priced at about 2.5 lakhs. That's the kind of spend they have in a lab. So typically we have provided them with stuff like cameras, we provide them with stuff like keyboards, mice, speakers. The only objective is that the student should get comfort in terms of his abilities, and these are not in public schools, these are all in government schools, typically where students have very little resources, the teachers have very little resources, the setup has very little resources. So we have contributed and really impacted these people in terms of lifting them up in terms of their transformation on the digital platform. In fact, one of the biggest success stories we've had is with the government, where they have hosted a data center and they've gone about deploying a server, and they have distributed clients to 12 states right now, and we're covering about something like 15,000 plus schools. So primarily this program has been initiated from the perspective that students who are aspirants, after their class 12, they want to get into medicine, they want to get into engineering colleges, they want to go about pursuing law or whatever. So what they do is that they get the best of professors at one central location for a state. Maybe he's a maths professor, maybe he's a physics professor, maybe he's a biology professor. He comes there after the school times and he goes into the studio, and from that studio he addresses the whole audience in the state, in all schools. And the schools are at a level which is at a village level, not even a district or a taluka. He's in a village, So what happens is he goes and shares his learnings or whatever he has to go about sharing with the students from a centralized studio. And these students who are getting midday meals from their schools, they get an access to a world-class teacher, and thus they're able to imbibe what the teacher is trying to share with them. So primarily what it does is that the students, they get an access to teachers who are really known, they are world-class. Like NCERT says that this guy is the guru when it comes to commerce. This guy is the guru when it comes to biology, whatever, So he gets himself placed in front of this. In fact, the success story, and it is rolled out very well. The quality of video which they go about getting in the classroom is awesome. Like it's very live, it's very immersive. And the cameras which have been deployed at the school level are sub 9,000 bucks. That's the quality that's the size, that's the spend which they do in terms of, we have some of these cameras lined up here. You have the Rally, which is much bigger. You have the Meetup, but this is relatively it's a bar camera with a 90 degrees viewing angle with twin mics. It can do a pic from about 20 feet or 17 feet, So that's the quality of stuff which we enable, and at a very low cost. The objective is that, on a very low cost, we go about generating the outcomes which nobody could dream of. Earlier you had these, the traditional codecs which were priced at about 5 lakhs per site and so on and so forth, which just come down to a few thousands. So not only that, so one is education, one is judiciary, and the other is health. Now in health, typically people are always looking forward to a second opinion, because if you go about looking at health as one of the areas, people look forward to getting an expert opinion. Probably he's somewhere in a state like, let's say he may be in Agartala, or he may be in a state like Guwahati, and he wants a second opinion from an expert who may be in Bombay, in one of the most prestigious hospitals. He has his X-ray reports, etc., and he wants a second opinion. So he does a video call from one of the clinics and takes a second opinion, so that so that he gets the confidence that the treatment line is correct. Whatever treatment or whatever doctors are saying, it's not exaggerated. It's not making him spend more money, and so on and so forth. So these are a few things which really Logitech has been working on, and the objective is one: we want to cut down in terms of spends, cut down in terms of capital expenditure, cut down in terms of size, cut down in terms of complexity, make it simple so that a regular guy can also operate and he can go about getting his outcomes. And in the corporate space too, we've enabled, we have global accounts like Google, where we have about 7,000 plus, or Microsoft, where we have 15,000 plus conference rooms, enabled. So that's the scale. And these conference rooms are not just in India, they are all over. You have it in Europe, you have it in the Americas, you even have it in Africa's, you have it in Australia, you have it in Japan, so on and so forth. So that's what these products are able to deliver and generate. And this is what my experience has been. I've been in Logitech for about 11 years, and round the clock, we continuously keep ensuring that these products are made available, which are low cost to users, and they go about getting a thrill in terms of using these products, and they get solid value for their money. Just imagine a person who is in India, whose son is getting educated in US, or whose son is working in Middle East, or whose son is working in Far East, like in Singapore. He gets an opportunity to open his laptop, connect him on a camera which Logitech makes, and he's able to talk to him on a daily basis. Be it his mother, be it his father, brother, all the relatives or friends. That joy which comes is what really creates. That's why we call it happy at work. And we really want to celebrate today all the transformation which has been made possible because of the IT community, because of you all who are present here, who are really very august, and really who are bringing a digital transformation in society and in your organizations. So on this note, I would request that we flag it off. So a very warm welcome to all of you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks
Yeah.
a lot. Now I request Mr. Shumantu Datta, MD, Logitech India Private Limited, Mr. Parna Ghosh, VP and Group CIO, Minda Industries Limited, and Mr. Nitant Desai, CTO, PNB Housing Finance Limited, to join me over here on the stage to have a fireside chat session on mega trends and role of collaboration. Please welcome them over here on the stage, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know it's a Friday evening, and a lot of people will have many more important things to do, but today you're all here, and I think it's really a privilege for Logitech to have each one of you join us this evening. With me on stage, I have very two eminent personalities. Both of them, one from PNB Housing, one from the Minda Group. We just got introduced to each other, and all three of us were talking about, the workplace is changing so fast, and that's reality. But as we look forward, we see actually the workplace is going to change even faster because millennials are coming into the workforce. Their lifestyle is very different from us. They've studied at colleges, but they've also studied online. They've had teachers from all around the world. They are influenced by trends that not just happen in their neighborhood or in their immediate communities, but things that are happening in Brazil, to a Greta Thunberg in the Nordics, or anything that may be happening anywhere in the world is their way of life today. So it's no longer just influenced by their immediate surroundings. Now, in this space, technology, digital, will play a huge role in enabling millennials to adjust to their type of workplace. And society in general will be challenged to even move forward and keep pace with the expectations of the workplace, a happy workplace. Some of the mega trends that we feel that are impacting the workforce and the workplace is the complexity that is going to hit us. So no longer, when I started work, which was many years ago, over a quarter of a century ago, it makes me feel very old saying that, but over a quarter of a century ago, I remember we used to have launch conferences and sales conferences where the whole sales force will land up in a particular city, and it would be a gala event for 2 or 3 days, and we discuss the whole plan for the year, and then we go out and execute. Today, you're going to have a sales conference every day sometimes, because the world around us is changing so quickly. And therefore, collaboration is no longer where you get everybody together physically. Collaboration happens on the go, and it is happening virtually. And really, we've got to understand how workplace needs to change to adapt to that collaboration and enable that, rather than saying, okay, we used to have sales conferences, let's have it together. So while we are in the area of enabling workplace collaboration, my friends here actually manage these workplaces and really are dealing with these complexities. So I'd like to hand over to Mr. Ghosh first, and saying that, when we talk about mega trends of the future workplace and the role of millennials that we just talked about in being an integral part, how do we address these needs given the mobility needs? Some things like BYOD, they want their own devices. They don't want to use the ones that are issued by the company. Flexi working hours, work from home, remote working. People are sometimes based in Bulandshahr and they say, I don't want to move, I'm going to be there. And then they have to collaborate with somebody in Dallas, Texas. So how are we working on those, and what do you think are the big challenges as we look forward?
Okay. Thanks. And hello. Thanks. Hello.
You want to use this one?
Hello.
Can you hear?
Okay. Thanks. So, good evening, all of you, and thanks to Logitech for inviting us for this interesting subject called Happy Workplace, and it's very pertinent. Sorry, I have a bad throat, so please excuse me. Sometimes I may have some disturbance, and that's very pertinent today because the workplace, the workforce, and also the environment around us is completely changing. Now let's slightly go back before I come to the exact question. In 1790, when the industry 1.0 came up with electrification worldwide, and the major boost came in Europe, was basically to look at steam engines and stuff like that, and also electric kettles and certain other electrical advancements. So it was 1790, and then later on in around 1850, the second industry 2.0 that started. It went till World War II. Then came the third industrial revolution, which was basically on mechanization and automation, which brought to us the famous IBMs and all the big large organizations, corporations, who brought a lot of stuff into the digital space. And then we are still used to work with industry 3.0, and in the year of 2000, the industry 4.0 came, which is basically converging of cyber physical systems. And now we are talking about society 5.0 and not industry 5.0 in 2020. Now look at what is society 5.0. Society 5.0 is talking about more of collaboration. It's only about collaboration. And countries like Japan and Korea, they have already started using this collaboration as a platform to talk with millennials, talk with the old people in the society, talk with the ecosystem, government, industries. So that is how the entire collaboration piece is working in the age of digitalization. At the same time, there is a big push from the IT sector on digitalization, so which we call as digital disruption. So which is like example, the changes in business environment is happening. Say for an example, e-commerce, banking, healthcare, IT itself, IT enabled services. All these changes are happening. And then when we think about the convergence of technology, then the talk from Bulandshahr to Belvedere or Delhi to Dallas or whatever communication collaboration we want to have is possible. The backbone of 5G, if you see, which is coming to India now and already has been very popular in Europe and Korea, Japan and the other parts of the globe, is going to bring a lot of advantage in terms of collaboration. I think this is the right time to invest on this kind of technologies and tools look at global reach. He rightly pointed out we did a video conferencing solution in our organization around 3.5, 4 years back. I believe we have already saved more than few crores in terms of traveling, commuting, time wastage, and all this stuff which happens generally. And our utilization has gone multifold. I think we are now there in 30 odd locations across India, and also we have outside India we are connected. The reviews have become very good. All the top management sits on the side of the review, and the reviewees are also sitting on the other side. Things happen on the fly, and I believe 5-10 years back we used to have a lot of disruptions. The cables were not fixed, the PRI line was not good, and the bandwidth and the performance was not that great. But now what is happening is, with the advent of mobility, faster communication and connectivity, the technology is so good now. I think last 2 years we have zero disruption. There was zero downtime, which we can say, on the platforms which you are using. So point is, whether it's a remote place in UP to any location in the US or Japan or Korea or any place, and also the change in the behavior of the new generation. So they want to be free, they want to be different, they want to be free from all the baggages, movement, rotation, location change. I think that's the right way of looking at collaboration as a tool, not only for enterprise, also for government, also for citizens, also for business to business, business to consumers. At any kind of platform, I think it's the right time and right way of looking at things. And I think future will be much better and bigger. I don't know, out of your $80 trillion dollar economy of the whole world, maybe couple of thousands, or I don't know, maybe few thousands of billions will be there for communication collaboration today, which is going to be in multifold in days to come, which I understand. That's my take.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh, because I think that it's very critical that it's not that it's coming, it's already here. But as we move into the digital area and really advanced digital video collaboration, seamless collaboration, work from anywhere, I think, I'd like to extend across to Mr. Desai. And I'd say that, coming from a finance company, one of the big areas of concern is with cloud and with digitization and more freedom, there's also a question of security. And how do we actually deal with this complexity from an operational standpoint as we open up to more freedom?
In financial services, first of all, thank you very much, Logitech, for inviting us over here and sharing our thoughts. Two things. One is security, which I'll answer a little later. One is, as a financial services company, as an housing finance company, we are facing a lot of cultural issue while hiring an IT talent. Because we are conventionally a housing finance company, and the IT talent whom we try to attract for the company are more used to working for Google environment and Oracle environment, coming into shorts, working from home, not shaven, and round neck t-shirts, tone jeans, God knows what all, which doesn't go with the housing finance company. And one of my young colleagues is also here. Like 10 o'clock, I hammer him, why are you not in time? Whereas he walks in easily at 10:30 because he works till 6 o'clock in the morning and then he starts his day. So we face this as a big... So we better get used to this millennium culture, because if students or people who have studied into a tablet and who have studied into a completely high-tech environment, they are not going to sit in your 9-to-5 offices and going to work. Let's accept it and let's change accordingly. It's high time we should start adaptable to change, first and foremost. Second, for us, cloud and security are the prime two challenges, I would say, that we are facing as of now, that each organization has got their challenges onto customization of the application, and to host a customized application on a cloud is always difficult, and to get and best performance out of it is also always a challenge. So there is always a multi-cloud strategy as of now, which also adds up to your cost. And second problem, or second challenge rather, that we face is of a security. When it comes to security, and we are into a financial services company, we are not bank, but at the same time, if I take the example of the bank, If you don't handle your handheld devices from which you are doing an internet banking, your money can be siphoned anytime. So you have to be very careful. So IT security is a subject of a self-discipline and self-learning first and foremost. Nobody can teach you. You have to first be alert and you first be educated. And you should create a lot of awareness, continuous awareness when it comes to IT security and related matters. Coming to digital and security, you have to ensure that your data does not get leaked. You have to put it under such a protected environment that you always talk through a middle layer or through a secured firewall, so that customer or the vendor can access only the required detail of the services that he is looking for and not anything more. And that's why the tools like DLP, etc., data loss prevention, etc., is very important. You have to today we are going to have cyber ethical hacking and cyber security session later, which they will tell you, and which is going to be around how to monitor the threat on your network operations center and security operations center. So for financial services, the cyber security challenges are very, very high, and we are still trying to manage it, and every day we come with the new challenges that comes into this area.
Thank you, Mr. Desai. And I think it's a very important point that you raised about, again, digital security being in two areas. One is the financial data, because from a bank standpoint, that is the most critical asset, almost one of the most critical assets that you have.
And it's a reputation loss for the organization.
And it's a huge reputation loss. And not just the financial security, but also your customer data. If that is hacked at any point of time, it's game over, right? For the bank, for the reputation, for a whole lot of other aspects from our financial position.
This is my phone. Right now, somebody is hacking my data. I won't even come to know. Somebody is accessing data. I won't even come to know. It's there. The handheld is with me, but you don't come to know.
And that's a reality. And I think it's even more real from perspective of the millennial workforce, because they're not used to being so cautious. We grew up in a very cautious world, but I think the millennial workforce is not that cautious, and they find if you're not going to move to cloud, that it's going to be restricting them. So there is a constant push from the millennial workforce to progress faster and take a few risks. And I think it's one of the things that we have seen is that you have to carefully balance it. When it comes to financial data, customer data, security is above all else. But as we talk through all the sort of disruption that's hitting our world, when we talk even in finance, every third day there is a change in regulation.
Absolutely.
There is a new law that comes in force, and for that, and you have probably tens of thousands of workforce across the country. You can't call them back in to train them, so you actually can use cloud and video in the area of human resource capability building, which is non-confidential, which allows the bank or the workforce to actually be up to speed in a much more effective way. So it's about different uses of the cloud, of digitization, of really enabling the organization, not just in one aspect, but in all aspects. And yet taking care of security while we move forward, but also keeping up with the speed, the needs of learning, needs of capability development by using another facet.
I'll just give you a small example. In fact, when you told that regulation gets changed overnight, now Aadhaar-based token signature that we use, just a circular came one day saying that it's a privacy, and High Court has ruled out that you can't use Aadhaar data at all.
Yeah.
So initiative which we have just launched in August was shelved in month of October because of this regulation. And it was ease, convenience, lot of things to the customer. So you have to be always prepared for this kind of challenges.
So as you're absolutely right, disruption can happen at the blink of an eye.
Absolutely.
And how we leverage digital capabilities, the cloud, video, or seamless learning across geographies with immediate impact is going to determine the needs for the IT needs in the future. So on that, I'd like to talk to you, Mr. Ghosh, again. Where do you see, we've got some very young, bright minds here, the capability needs of the IT leaders of tomorrow, especially in organizations, and what are the challenges that they should be looking up? What are the trends they should be up to speed with? Because everyone's now talking about relearning, keeping pace. So, what message would you have for the team here?
So before, hello.
I don't think that.
Yeah, before we jump into the skills requirement or the requirement of tomorrow, we have to understand what is the, like Mr. Joshi has correctly mentioned, that what is the requirement of today by the millennials. So, especially in IT environment, most of the people with whom you work, maybe they are your end users, your customers, or whoever is it, they are more educated and more knowledgeable than you. I believe everyone in this room will be using WhatsApp call or Facebook Messenger call or whatever, and you need not to give any training to them. So because of advent of mobile, people are more savvy and self-trained how to use systems and tools. Now I believe few things will be required. You rightly pointed out about relearning. I will say first, before relearning, you have to do some de-learning. So you have to, like, we are from the ages of ERP. If you remember, in 1972, these SAPs of all came out, and then Oracles, and then now we are into the ages of HANA and all the new generation softwares. But kids or the millennials who are just joining from colleges or MBA institutes, they don't like all this ERP stuff and stuff like that. So the same thing, we are also struggling. We have a institute, or rather a center called CREATE, Center for Research and for Advanced Engineering, where it's in Pune. So what happens is, there most of the people are like coming in t-shirts, jeans and stuff like that, and they have a different time zone, they have a different type of working, they have different work culture there. Dealing with them and dealing with a factory worker or a factory employee is completely different. So the team or the CIO or the IT leader has to understand the diversification, the crowd, and also first de-learn, like what we have already learned that may not work. So there is a famous word, what went well till today will not work for tomorrow, something like that. So same thing applies for us as well, and we need to be really focused on what artificial intelligence talking about, what data scientists think about, what is and data analysis all about, what is about IoT, what is about robotics, process automation, all this new generation stuff we need to learn first. Second thing is, in your team, if people are not skilled for many years, please look into this thing very, very seriously. If your human assets are not ready for tomorrow, you will be facing a lot of challenges, and you need to, like government is planning for Skill India and stuff like that. I think the same Skill India initiative has to be there in your respective organizations. This is foremost requirement in the day of today. And then looking at tomorrow, I think the disruption is so fast and so diversified, and somebody was telling yesterday that we don't know what we don't know, and I will say we don't know what is tomorrow. So that means tomorrow, what, say for an example, I don't know about Logitech. Tomorrow Logitech might do a competition with Uno Minda. Nobody knows your competition landscape. Today people are saying Google and Apple are being competition to the Mercedes and BMWs and stuff like that. So your competition landscape is also changing. So not only learning the technologies, you also have to learn how the market is changing, how diversification is happening, how change in the environment is happening. So it's just not learning the way what technology works. It's also important to learn how business works, how finances are changing, how, say for an example, 10 years back people used to invest for capex. Now people are mostly going for opex and long term spending patterns. So the patterns are changing, finances are changing, banks are changing, the government is changing, regulations, as you rightly pointed out, is changing, employee needs are changing. So I think it's a very complex environment today where we are operating. and we need to be very, very cautious and careful, especially in IT, because we are the backbone of the organization. We also front end in a lot of areas where we need to give training and stuff like that. uh, like example, we have around 100 GETs in the organization, graduate engineer trainees. They have better ideas than us. They come up, they say, why don't you do something like this? I've never thought of it. Okay, great, let's try to do it. So these ideas, first of all, you have to be flexible also, to understand, accept, and then you start delivering those things at the right point of time. I think the time is very challenging for us, but at the same time it's interesting as well. And how fast we adopt this and change within ourselves, de-learn, relearn, de-skill, reskill, and then look at the potential future ahead.
Very interesting points. You know, and I just want to repeat some of the points that Parna made. Is when in the workforce, you'll have new employees and you'll have old ones, and there is a concept of de-learning, which is so critical, because what you've learned, whether it be at an educational institution or even through experience of 10, 15 years, may no longer be relevant. And it's critical that organizations and we as leaders actually step up and take that responsibility to encourage de-learning, relearning, reskilling, and just to keep up. It's not even to get ahead, just to keep up. The second point that you raised is, there was a time when IT was a forgotten pillar, used to just put up a few video collaboration or supply computers or do the ERP systems in EDP. EDP it was called, right? Electronic, yeah. So it wasn't even called IT. Today, IT is now front and center. The ability of an organization to keep pace with this change, both from employee perspective as well as the organization in the industry perspective, is critical. So IT has to be the most forward-thinking, the most disruptive, and bring that in. So PNB is a brand that I've grown up with. How are you doing that at PNB?
Well, I'll give my famous quote over here. We are not a housing finance company. We are not a bank. We are a technology company. We are into a business of housing finance. That's what I always say, and I maintain it.
Well said.
Yeah. So I'll just take a brief about the PNB Housing. We started about 33 years back in 88 as an wholly owned subsidiary as Punjab National Bank. When all HFCs, which was run by nationalized bank, started languishing, this one was somehow revived. And it was foresighted of the Dr. Chakravarti, who was the deputy governor of Reserve Bank of India. He infused private equity partners into it, and the company got revived into 2010, which is when the entire new management, people like me, my managing director Sanjay Gupta, we joined. And that's when the journey of IT transformation started. At that time, we were PSU, so all our procurement has to happen in a public sector most compliant way according to the CVC guidelines. So we developed our ERP system, which was base necessary for our bookkeeping and transaction, etc., which we did it in 2015. Normally, it takes about 3-4 years to stabilize such a mammoth ERP application, but we stabilized that by 2016 end, and from 2017 onwards, we started our digital journey. All the touch points of customers today are digitally enabled. If you want to, the most important service that a housing loan seeker needs is an interest certificate which he has to submit to his employer for claiming the income tax deduction. On 15th of August or on a 26th January, he is sitting at a home. Arey, I have to get my housing certificate. No, I'll have to talk tomorrow only. No, that doesn't happen with PNB Housing. You call up on my contact center, and there is a automated robotic voice that will ask you which service you want. And if you give your account number or mobile number, it will fetch your income tax certificate, and on a registered email ID, the certificate will be mailed to you.
And it's advanced so much, right?
Advanced so much.
Where you used to wait for the, take off from work, go to the...
At least 3 to 4 times you need to visit a housing finance company to complete your transaction.
Right.
Today, the housing loan gets disbursed into multiple installments because as per the stage of construction. So after taking the first installment, you need not visit the company at all. You can, through website of the company, you can request for a subsequent disbursement, and it will be completely RTGS, or it will be put into your account or your builder's account as per your request.
Absolutely.
And going back to the future, we were talking about IT security. So when you surf a site or something, you leave behind the cookies. Those cookies are being well used by some of the market leaders like Oracle and Adobe and all that. Based on that, they give you information that this person is looking for a housing loan, and you can then target your customer accordingly. The websites are so customized that if you look for a housing finance or home loan, it will not take you to the other section of the bank or the company. It will just take you to the housing loan next time when you visit. This is artificial intelligence or a machine learning, as we call it.
That's a very important point that you made. That today, when I started work, marketing was about putting ads. Making nice glossy ads on newspapers, hiring celebrities, putting them on TV, consuming your product or endorsing your product. Today, marketing is no longer that. It's all mathematics, it's algorithms, it's machine learning, it's AI. The machines know what you are looking for, and they will track you down and they'll help you market in a proper way. Coming to that, and I wanted to talk to Mr. Ghosh about this, because a few days back, and I'm going to move on from the finance part, and a few days back, we had one of India's leading banks who had a problem on their app. And I was surprised, I was shocked. It was, I'm a customer of that bank. I don't log on every day, but that app going down was headline news for 2 days in a row. Now, that's how important IT is. That caused more damage than any good marketing could have caused benefit for. And in this sort of an age, how important is IT? And how do we be prepared to deal with these issues?
So I think you rightly pointed out, IT today is not a technology provider or a BDP function which used to happen a couple of decades back. But IT today, I see digital as a different business model. Point number one. Point number two is, like all other organizations, we have also made a IT strategy for 24-25, where we are focusing on 5 areas. One is smart people, smart process, smart technology, smart manufacturing, and smart supply chain. So these are the 5 smart areas we are now, whatever initiatives we are doing in the organization, all are, encompassed into these 5 themes. Now let me talk something about smart people, because it's related with your happy working. So in smart people, we are working on collaboration. We are working on, mail on the cloud. We are working on communication. We are working on network. We are working on employee, self-service. So like recently we are using this success factor for our employee self-service. We are using collaboration. Everything is on the cloud. Whether it is success factor, whether it is your collaboration framework, whether it is a platform, or whether it is your communication platform, whether it is your mailing platform. So the complete platform we have taken on cloud. The advantage is, the thing which you're talking about is downtime management. Things in-house means you need skills, you need competencies, you need to have those rights, people to manage that. You need to use a service desk. You need to have so many other stuff to just handle those things. But when you are in cloud, things become much easier to manage. And the dependency on the infrastructure or the on-premise systems become very, very less. So that's the way we have looked at. First is cloud ready. It should be secured. It should be, out of the box solution. And also the fourth thing is, it should be world class, so that we need not to do a lot of customization and stuff like that in and around to support. So coming back to your point is whether to make it secured and make it more available. I think these 4 principles we are following, which is giving us good results over a period of time.
So really adding security, but actually working it towards a solution focus, making sure it makes the organization more effective. I'll give you one, just for the team out here. There was a time when we used to have a crisis situation, and you would send out an email that this is what you're supposed to say, and then that would be circulated, etc., right? And then the entire employee base would read it. Today, world has changed. And that was 5 years ago, right? I would send an email. Now, if there's a crisis and a consumer, a customer reaches out to PNB Housing Finance saying, I've read this. What is your answer? And the person who's answering that phone could be my relationship manager and says something wrong. What's next that happens? I will go on to Twitter, I will go on to Facebook, I will go on to this site, that site, and say, this is what PNB Housing Finance has to say, this employee, or this is my relationship, and then I already had one more crisis, another 5 crises just happened. So today it's no longer an option that we are IT enabled in a forward-looking way, integrating not just employees, integrating the wider stakeholder system, and we have to be real time. I'm sure that leading bank had a problem to control the fire, not from the app alone, but just the misinformation that was going around. Any comments from you on that?
Bank has got more than 1 lakh employee itself.
Absolutely.
So imagine the number of customer base that they have. And when you're talking about, it's quite apt that you call up a customer service person, your relationship managers gives the answer, which may not be completely accurate. So we have our CRM, which is customer system, is a chatbot enabled. So which gives you a response based on the standard feed-in data. So it cannot go wrong.
And I think it's important that, so there are different alternatives that will keep coming up. And we need to be aware that this is changing. Chatbots came up about 2 to 3 years back. And now you're already going on to level 3, level 4. So how do organizations and IT enable that to happen? And each one of you are doing that in your companies. The second point that I'd want to raise is that, today, virtual reality, VR, AI, machine learning is real in our lives, right? So how long can organizations stay away from that? We might be risk averse, but how long can an organization stay away from that? And that too being cutting edge, because if you're not cutting edge, customers will move. They will move immediately. In my lifetime, and probably in all your lifetimes, we've had a mobile phone giant being born and dying and being reborn again. And we don't know where it goes, but that's the need of change and for us to be ready. So how are we facing with these challenges? Really, I want to spend the next few minutes talking a little bit about getting your top talent ready for disruption that we don't even know that is coming.
Yeah, so that's what I mentioned. You don't know your competition. Who is your competition? And the landscape is not clear. And in that kind of scenario, we call it VUCA world, like volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So in this VUCA world, when you don't know who is your competition, who is going to be your, next, competitor, and stuff like that, there lies the problem. And then if you are not agile enough, you are not fast, if your speed is less, you're not using the right technology at the right point of time, you are going to die for sure. There are ample of examples, whether it is Kodak or Nokia. I think you are not mentioning the names. Let me mention the names also. There are ample examples, in India itself, outside the country. There was a report, I think, a few months back, which came out for Fortune 500, that every 10 years, the complete Fortune 500 list is getting reshuffled. The people who are in the bottom 500 are coming to the top 500, or, the list is completely changing. Companies are going out and companies are going in. Nobody used to know this GAFA, which is Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple, will come to this kind of a level. So now Apple's revenue is now almost $1 trillion. trillion. So it's unbelievable. Today I was seeing this Saudi Aramco, which is going for a market cap of $2 trillion. So I mean, the environment is completely changing. So in this respect, I believe keeping your enterprise being smart, ready, and looking at different opportunities, diversify yourself, train your people, and obviously before training you need to de-learn, de-skill, and then obviously learn. I think those things are very, very important. Using the technologies at the right point of time. See, using technology is very, very important. You rightly mentioned, we did a study with ACMA, Siam, and AT Kearney. ACMA is, the Component Manufacturers Association. Siam is a OEM's body. So what we did is we selected 11 technologies. I'm not mentioning the technologies right now. We have a white paper which is anyway published in the public space. You can look at these technologies. It's talking about AI, it's talking about machine learning, it's talking about analytics, big data, it's talking about IoT. All these new technologies are there, which is definitely going to change the whole perspective and the game in future. And customer expectation is completely changing. If you see our industry itself, customer is not looking at normal cars or normal passenger cars without gear, all the features. Now people are looking at feature cars. People are looking at features. And this has been brought by Ubers and Olas and all this stuff, because they have brought technology and, they have given the flavor. Now, the competition, the enterprise has to really gear up to look at the technologies, look at the future possibilities, look at R&D investments at the right time, at the right point of, juncture, and then go ahead with the investments. I think that times are very interesting. It's tough, it's VUCA, but it's also bringing up a lot of opportunities. So any challenge will always bring opportunities to the enterprises. That's, I believe.
I wanted to also give the opportunity, I've got two luminaries with me, to the audience to ask any questions at this time before we do a few wrap-up comments.
Yeah.
In case anybody has questions, please raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you.
If you have any questions, just raise your hand.
No questions? It may be too cold right now, but it's freezing outside, it's freezing inside. So I think everyone's all huddled up. But do feel free, if you at any point of time you want to raise your hand or just ask a question, please feel free to do so. We'd love to, it's a great opportunity to talk to the gentleman on stage with me, to actually get their perspective on some problems, some issues that you may be facing, or challenges that you'd like a different opinion on.
I think it happens something differently. So if people understand everything, they don't ask. Or if they don't understand anything, they don't ask. So I believe the first thing applies here.
Well said. Well said. Sir, what about changing, the challenges that you're facing to really keep people ahead in PNB housing finance? You've got a old world mentality around it, but again, not anymore.
Our biggest challenges is attracting talent from the market, particularly for IT, not for the business purpose that we get, because we are from nowhere, we are now the top 5th housing finance companies of the country. So for the business and the allied functions, we do get people. But when it comes to technology part of it, AI, AML, business intelligence, big data and all that, because people don't see growth there. Okay, I'll do something for 2 years, what next? As a result, we find it very difficult to hire and attract and retain talent. That's the biggest challenge that I have. And currently we are trying to bed it with my colleague here from Deloitte, kind of a consultant who help us and they help us drive this kind of a thing. But on a sustainable basis, if you need to create a culture and a talent within the organization, that's our challenge as of now. And we are figuring out how to do it. And I request and I fight with my HR and my MD very hard that don't treat IT people as others in the business.
Sorry to interrupt, but we are running out of time, so let's make it.
Okay, sorry. Okay, thank you for keeping us on time. I know we've got Gautam coming in. So I'd like to, firstly, before, I want to ask, just wrap up, but I want final words of advice from you on, not just to the IT managers, but I think more importantly, one of the biggest issues that India will face in the next few decades is going to be that of employment. And at the same time, we're going to have an enormous fight for talent, because the best and the brightest want to work with the world's best. They want a platform. It could be an Indian company, no problem. Oyo is an Indian company. Infosys, TCS, they're Indian companies. But they want to have impact on the global stage. And that's what prevents them from joining a PNB Housing Finance or a Logitech. But at the same time, we've got huge amount of talent. They may not be industry ready right now, but how do we tap into talent beyond what we call the best and the brightest? Because there is still an enormous talent waiting out there.
We invest into management training, the engineer training as he has to.
Yeah.
We invest into them. They are the best. If they stay with you for 5 years, good enough. Good ROI that you recover from. They come with the best idea.
So
I'm a big fan of a management training program than anything else than an entry.
So this is an old world idea, but relevant even today. Because if you take them through management training process, and you can actually develop and shape and allow them to shape you, as Mr. Ghosh said before.
There's no de-learning there. That's the biggest advantage.
And we can really become the next gen, even in IT space.
So I think, the ages of 3D. I think everybody knows what is 3D. 3D is not that three-dimensional. This is data, disruption and distraction. So distraction is like this is a very good audience, but many times I see, go to many seminars or something, I see 90% of the people are on the mobile. They don't listen what speakers are telling, and they're not interested also to listen. There's so much of distracting information is there in WhatsApp, Facebook, this, that, mail, and so many other stuff. So in this age, I want to add 2 I's. One is insights and second is innovation. So 3D, 2I. If you can look at this, because 3D is more disturbing, but 2 I's are more, positive. So if you can look at these 2 I's, insight is rightly pointed out by Mr. Joshi. Like those are people from the management institutes or technical institutes, and also people with right intellect who can also think about new things, disrupt the whole ecosystem, think about new processes. Like my chairman, who is 62 years old, he is telling, listen to the GETs and don't listen to the top management. Listen to them; they can give you better ideas, and he's right. In that sense, they can give you much better ideas. We are even not able to think also, able to plan also. I think that's the right way of looking at it. So nurture the talents, look at fresh talent, look at innovative culture. We have a lot of good stuff, like we have a meet called Innovation Meet, where we call all the newcomers and they present a lot of new ideas in front of the customers even. Then we have a format called BEST. So BEST is nothing but that's called Business Excellence to Simple Technique. So something like that. These kind of formats are very important to encourage new innovation and new thinking. I think that's very, very important. Otherwise, the country, the population, we are 1.3 billion, 65% is less than 40 years old. We will be in a very, very bad situation like Venezuela. So I think if using the knowledge capital, using the human capital, we need to utilize it in the right direction, things will definitely improve for sure.
Thank you.
Opportunities are plenty.
Yes. I want to thank both my panelists for some really good insights, and especially the last one. In India, we've always thought that the best ideas come from the top. Here it's all about the other way. The best ideas are going to come from the newcomers. They're going to disrupt, they're going to innovate, they're going to bring the insights. It's almost like the new concept of reverse mentoring, where they are going to keep us relevant and moving forward quickly rather than people giving directions from the top. So, and a management training program, a GET program, and really believing that they can disrupt is the true mantra around the millennial workplace. So thank you again for those very deep insights and a really nice session. Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the lovely session, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Now I request Mr. Sumanto Datta to felicitate Mr. Parna Ghosh. Everyone, please give a huge round of applause. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for the lovely session. And now I would like to request Mr. Gautam Kapoor, partner Deloitte, along with his team to give a presentation on ethical hacking. Please welcome him over here.
Just a small introduction. So I'm Gautam and he's my colleague. we didn't realize this is going to be in a pub, so we dressed up in a, suit. But this guy's always seen in a, shorts and sneakers because he's actually my ethical hacker. So you will find him cracking things rather than, dressed up in a suit because he doesn't have the time, which is what the VUCA world we were talking about, right? So he doesn't have the time, but I don't know how he's come. He has to go to a marriage today. So that's why he's dressed like that. Anyway.
Yeah, otherwise normally I'm in like a jeans or a hooded jacket.
Okay, so we're going to have a bit of a conversation around red teaming operations, which is the advanced form of ethical hacking, right? So we're going to talk about that and how really, how red teaming is actually done these days. So we'll go through some bit of a scenario. I've got one small video as well. It's basically from Deloitte, but please excuse the sales part of it. There's a bit of a sales line over there, but please excuse. But you'll get the drift of how that video kind of works. Okay, just a few things before we start. So we all understand what is vulnerability assessment. Anyone? Vulnerability assessment. What is VA? We understand. What is pen testing? We understand. Sir, please, if you can explain for others also. You said yes, so if you can explain what is pen testing, penetration testing. Expert, wonderful. And ethical hacking. Same thing, right? So there is white hat and there is gray hat and there is black hat. Now the difference between both these color or the white, black and gray is just the intention. So one is done for the intention of crime and maybe causing a bit of a harm. The other is done with the intention of finding an exploit and probably earning a bit of a money, like bug bounty, right? So a lot of people today in the VUCA world or the millennials are now earning money by just cracking or finding bugs in Facebook, Google of the world, and earning tremendous amount of money. So if you have that capability, you can make a career out of it. So that is actually what is ethical hacking, right? So we'll explain a bit of that. I'm sorry about the small font. I didn't realize it will be a bit small. So what is vulnerability? Just for everybody so that understand, vulnerability assessment is where you go and find vulnerabilities in any of your digital landscape. So I'll give you an example. So we were talking about security. The panel here, this team panel was talking about security, and I was actually at that point of time reading an article where somebody hacked into a camera, right, and was speaking to an 8-year-old child saying, "Hi, I'm your best friend. This is Santa Claus." Right. So how did he do that? He found a vulnerability in the camera, right? And we have cameras here, so just a precaution. So this is what vulnerabilities can actually do. What is penetration testing? Penetration testing is you go, if you found a vulnerability, you actually, exploit it and demonstrate that it can be done. So actually, somebody used a bug and demonstrated that I can hack into the camera, and then he's speaking to the, the kid in the room to say, "Hi, I'm your best friend." So that is penetration testing. But red teaming is a bit more, vast. So we'll come to that. But before we come to that, we'll have a video which we will show. No input detected.
The internet has opened up a world of opportunities for businesses like ours. Businesses at the cutting edge of technology. We know the world's most high-profile companies inside out. Companies like yours. Who are we? Your worst nightmare.
In a wave of attacks on businesses worldwide. Criminals have launched yet another malicious attack on... Well, I think he's here.
I've got nothing to say.
Do you think your position's sustainable, sir?
I've got no comment to make.
Do you think your shareholders are going to make of this?
I said we don't know the full extent of the intrusion.
How long will you be offline?
Do you have systems in place to stop this from happening?
Our security protocols have been breached by what I can only describe as a highly sophisticated cyber attack.
You can't take all the credit. We had a little help from Jim.
Oh, hello.
One of your managers.
Yeah, yes, please. Thank you.
Jim kindly loaded our keylogger into his PC. Before catching up on some emails, giving us direct access to his mailbox and password. Jim's giving us a lot of information. Access to business contacts, emails from work colleagues. Jim's the outgoing type. Hello, Ali in IT. You look like a privileged
Hello,
user.
Hello. Hi, yes, this is Ellie. Okay, thank you. Yeah, no problem.
Think I'm in there. Well, thanks, Sally, for welcoming our custom malware into your system. We're looking forward to working closely alongside you over the next few months. There's no hurry. We have all the time in the world. After all, no one knows we're there.
We shouldn't be able to reach the live environment from here. But then why complain if we can?
I bet the vulnerability testing doesn't apply to the internal servers. Thought not.
Default password. Who forgets to change that?
We have access to all your networks. We're in the database, mapping systems, circumnavigating firewalls across the business. Oh, and did I mention, we're going global on this one.
Je l'enverrai tout de suite. Merci.
We can organize the research and development from this idea. Picked about the air.
そうですね、社内の方からの承認が下りるまで他の方にちょっと、
Intellectual property, confidential documents, personal and financial data belonging to thousands of people throughout your business, from anywhere in the world. We know your secrets.
So how long has this been going on?
This may have been going on for some time.
What are the cost implications of the attack?
He doesn't know what's hit him, or his business. IT are trying to work it out. All systems stay offline for days while they assess the extent of the attack. PR are working overtime on damage limitation.
I understand. That's the importance.
Then there's the emergency board meeting. Powerless as the share price falls. As customers and investors abandon ship, the board realize that the game has changed. They thought they knew the risks.
How did this happen? Who the hell is responsible?
working at the heart of your business has been an invaluable experience. Good to know the door's always open.
So this in a nutshell demonstrates how actually an attack happens. So that's really what red teaming is. So red teaming actually simulates exactly what this video was demonstrating, and we'll just explain that in the slide. Yeah. So these are the three elements which any red teaming exercise actually now uses. So you've got the human element, the forgotten link. So basically, unaware user picking up a USB drive is actually exploiting the human element, right? Physical, while this video didn't demonstrate the physical element, but physical is an important component. So I try and sneak into your, enterprise, and I maybe plant an implant, or I plant a, keylogger, and I maybe, throw in a USB drive. It's, again, a unaware employee will pick it up and say, plug it into his, PC. So these are all examples of how this can be done. And cyber, basically, that's the vulnerability assessment. So, trying to exploit the vulnerability over there. So combine these three, and you get what red teaming is. This is really what red teaming helps you do. So if you do the red teaming, it helps you make your users aware by exploiting the weakest link. And the weakest link can be anything. It could be your human element. It could be your physical security. It could be your IT. And this is what the panel was also discussing, that it's getting digital everywhere. The data is everywhere, so there is no longer a physical perimeter. Your sales team is working from home. They've got BYOD devices. They've got tabs. So anything which can give me access into the organization is something which I can leverage. So it gives you awareness. It also gives you planning and response. So in the video you saw how they were trying to do crisis management. So in case you get breached, what do? You have to manage. You have to manage a crisis. The way the video was showing, it wasn't a great example, but actually just by doing proper planning, you can get to know if you've been breached and how fast you can respond to it. So that is really the planning and the response. And the last is, basically information. So it gives you a realistic picture of where you stand, because red teaming is actually the way the hackers work. Because they are not going to leave you by only the cyber world, because they will use everything in their book. And the three things which we demonstrated is actually what everybody they will be using. So they could be in the cafe near your office, where you will find a lot of the chit chat is happening. They will be at the Panwala also, where a lot of chit chat and smoke, a lot of us would be smoking. They may be tracking you digitally on your Facebook and trying to figure out what is your online behavior as well. So a lot of these things can actually lead to the attack. So basically there's a lot of advantage of doing some of this exercise. What we've seen in organization is it helps organization to take care of the entire gamut of their supply chain as well. So in one of the recent attacks which happened, the attack actually, the start of that was with a vendor, right? So through the vendor was actually hacked. The vendor then came and sat into the organization. Then the organization machines were hacked, and that organization machine was actually being used for a client, and therefore they went into the client environment through that. So it's a three-phased thing. So it went into even the supply chain elements. Now think about all your softwares which you buy. You buy all your COTS, directly the softwares or OEM software. What if there is a time bomb planted by somebody in that particular application to be enabled only at the right time? Because we are not doing code reviews of that code. We don't even get access to the code, right? So how do you ascertain that the code is appropriate? So these are as I said, these are all your elements of how you can do red teaming. So you see the physical side, that includes everything. So access to your data center, access to your probably home, if they wherever your employees are working, the sales guys, your R&D guys, all of that, the access becomes important. The human element on the third party. So again, a lot of the attacks today we've seen are happening with suppliers. Your suppliers up and downstream, vertical and horizontal, are even more vulnerable. Today, none of the entities are not outsourcing. All of us are outsourcing. Our keys to the kingdom, which is your user IDs and passwords, believe it or not, are outsourced. You'll have either the Wipros, Infosys, and I hope I don't mean to say it in the wrong way. They would have access to your, privilege accounts, right? So they are part of your supply chain. They are your partners. So the human element becomes very important, and of course the cyber part, which is your digital landscape, which is ever expanding. So that's another important one. Anand, over to you, Ben.
Yep. So there are different approaches that we can follow for performing a red teaming activity. So red teaming activity, like Gautam explained, it's all about gaining access to an organization, establishing our foothold, and then expanding our limits and reaching out the crown jewel of the organization. That can be your customer sensitive information, that can be your card data, and anything that you want to protect that can be used and leveraged to further expand our coverage. There are like in the previous slide it was shown, there are three primary things: physical, human, and cyber. Most of the IT companies or most of the organizations focus more on the cyber side. The less covered part is the human element and the physical element. The physical element, the people are started covering, and organizations are addressing that part also. There are biometric scanners, there are fingerprint scanners, retina scanners. But in most of the cases, if you see the protected environment, they only have the access cards that can easily be cloned and can easily be bypassed to get access to the organization and the protected information. There are various ways that we can demonstrate or perform the red teaming activity, right? And it is also known as the ethical hacking or the advanced ethical hacking, where we don't only limit on identifying an individual vulnerability and exploiting it and stopping at that point of time. We go above and beyond. We try to exploit a human being in this case, like calling a person, asking that person for, like for example, I would call you and say that I am XYZ or I am a CIO of your organization. No one would cross-question, no one would cross-check. If that they do not recognize the voice, they would not cross-check the identity. They would just provide the information that you would ask for. It can be the username, password, it can be any sensitive information, it can be the list of the top users who have privileged access. Those information can easily be shared. That's the human link, the weakest link in the chain that we want to exploit. The second is on the cyber front. How are we exposed on the cyber front? There are multiple, so everyone is now, every organization is now connected to internet. So it's more about connecting and exploring, right? They are connecting to cloud. There are multiple devices that people are carrying. Every individual will have at least 2 or 3 devices that are connected. The problem in this phase is it is difficult to identify by an organization like which part of their IT asset or which part of their asset is being exposed on externally. That's on the internet part. It can be an individual user, it can be their smartphones having their email ID configured, right? Or their hard disk that is unencrypted.
Right. So just to that example, there was last year there was a news about a casino getting hacked, right, in the US. I'm not sure if you've heard that. Now, how did the casino get hacked? Right? Casino got hacked by hacking an aquarium. So an aquarium was installed in the casino which had an IoT device. That IoT device got hacked first. That device was connected to a desktop, and the desktop was parallelly connected to the LAN. So first you hacked into the aquarium, you then got into the desktop, and then you got into the casino. So which is where, just go back to the last slide. So which is where you see the entire gamut. So I don't know how many of us actually test printers for security, right? Printers, large work center printers have HTTPS and web page access to printers. It can show you all the print documents which you have printed for the last 2 days, right there. And in many cases, there's a default user ID and password to enter. So anybody on the LAN will just go in, type the printer IP, boom, it will open, it will give you a web page, and you can see all who's printing what. So you get everything, right? So it's amazing how these things can spread.
Thanks, Gautam. Now we cover the exposure part, like which all data or which all information does an organization expose. there might be a possibility that your organization data is already been breached and you are not aware. These data, like everyone knows, the data is the new oil. How this data is being utilized? This data has been uploaded on the dark web or the deep web for sale, where people buy this data, then utilize it further to gain access to the organization. It can include your username, password. There was a recent attack that was a month old. Collection 1, Collection 2, these were the name of the dumps which were available. It has 2.5 million text file of username and passwords of every individual, or I would say most of the individual on the planet, which includes their Gmail or the personal email account, their corporate email account, along with the clear text password that was up for sale and only for $5. That was the rate of the data that the hackers are selling on the dark web. Now, what in a case when you're in a case where your organization you assume that it has already been compromised, there is an activity which is known as compromise assessment, where it has been assumed that your organization is compromised, and the testing is performed in a way to identify whether it is true or not. It helps your what helps in identifying it is your network traffic and logs. That's again the data, right? And how you are connected to the internet, which all protocols or the packets that you are sending out, and which all IPs you are communicating to. Are those the blacklisted IPs, or are those the IPs which are communicating to a country which is well known for an cyber attack? That communication and those links and those bit of pieces of data are then linked together to identify whether your organization is been compromised or not.
That's it. Okay. So as you can see, the scope of how ethical hackers can do is really vast. Do not forget to test any of your IT assets, digital assets, any of your IoT, OT devices. It's important that these devices are tested. Any product which you are developing today needs to be tested, right? So there are a lot of IoT devices. So remote control air condition, right? I don't know if that has been tested. There are remote controlled washing machines, IoT enabled washing machines available, so you can switch on a washing machine while at work, right? So all with the advent of as the digital landscape increases, the cyber security is only increasing. So my only 2 cents is stay secure, open to questions. I know I'm holding you guys from the dinner and cocktail. We can have one question. Okay, no questions. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for the session. Now I request Mr. Rajiv Sehgal to felicitate Mr. Gautam Kapoor. Please give a huge round of applause, everyone. Thank you so much for the lovely session. Please give a huge round of applause, everyone. And now I request Mr. Anand Pandey to join me over here on the stage. And please felicitate Mr. Anand Pandey. Please give a huge round of applause, everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, sir. And now I request Mr. Sandeep Kumar Bhagat, Regional Sales Head, Logitech India Private Limited, to join me over here on the stage to give a presentation on Logitech Future of Collaboration. Please welcome him on the stage, everyone.
Who we are. Basically, I'll start my presentation that what Logitech is all about. So, in 1982, we have launched our first 3-button mouse. This was our first offering in the market. So, Logitech, most of you, Logitech is having an impression that we are having a computer peripheral company, right? Right? We are number one, definitely yes, we are number one for most of our category, which you know, that is keyboard, mice, computer accessories, right? we hold a number one position in all the offering we have in computer peripherals. So this is the core category we have, in which there are keyboard, mice, headsets, presenters and all, right? Other than these categories, this is the core category we have. We are operating in 4 different business groups, which is music. So under music, we have 2 very good brands, that is Jaybird and Ultimate Ears. Gaming. So definitely gaming is one of the profit making vertical we have, in which we have a range of products starting from keyboard, mice, joysticks, wheels and all. And people are now talking about the artificial intelligence, but we are having a technology 10 years back in which we are offering products for your smart homes, where you can do your lighting, cushion, controls over the smart homes basically. And the new category, and the category which I'll be talking about today, that is video collaboration, in which we are having a range of product to meet your collaboration needs. So Logitech is not about a computer peripheral company, because nowadays if you play a game, it is on cloud. You listen to a music, it is on cloud, right? For any collaboration or conference need, definitely you adopt or use a cloud. So we are not only a computer peripheral company now. So we have turned ourselves to offer a cloud peripheral company, in which we are having range of product to meet your cloud requirements. And not to the product, we have 3 different identity. We are having a Swiss background. Our legacy are from Swiss background. Our R&D centers are in Switzerland. Sales office is based out of USA, and we are listing in both the location. And manufacturing is based out of Asia, in which we are having lots of manpower in entire Asia Pacific region. Globally, 7,000 employees. Turnover is around $2.78 billion for this financial year. And we are having our presence for currently 100 plus countries. It means very proud we are claiming that not only a location is specific. For any mass deployment, we are having our setup done, and we can offer our product globally to any countries. So if I talk brief about the video collaboration, in 1998, we have offered our first web camera, desktop cameras to the market. And since last 20 years, we are the largest supplier of web cameras across globe. Means there is no competition, and more than 90% web cameras which people are using is of Logitech as of now. So this is the first model we have. And now we have to offer the entire range, starting from a small huddle room, one-to-one conferencing, to a solution for your open space workspaces, and a boardroom which is having a capacity of up to 50 people. For town halls, yes, we have a video for them. We have a camera for town hall operations. And this is a very interesting data. This is a third-party research which has been done. So we have already crossed the number of unit which has been shipped to across India for a collaboration room. We have just shipped double of the. We have enabled double of the room which competitor has done in last year. So it shows about the scaling we have done, because in video conferencing it is almost 4 years that we are supplying video collaboration solution, and we are the number one supplier in terms of unit we have done last year. We have got to know about the technology, how it is changing, and the workspace. In our first presentation, workspace is changing, right? So it is not about the boardrooms, it is about the personal one-to-one conferencing. So we have categorized 2 categories in our conferencing. One is for personal use, and second one is for team solution, in which we are having a solution for 50 people. So starting from a desktop camera, which is 4K, to a basic camera, and the headsets, which is Bluetooth enable, and link certified cameras we have to offer for personal conferencing. And for boardroom solution, we are having a solution starting from 2 to 4 people and up to 50 people. For CIO cabins, for a huddle room, for a sitting capacity of 4 to 8 people, 8 to 15 people, we have a solution in place. If we talk about the team solution, we are having a strategic tie-up with Google, Microsoft, and Zoom. So we are the certified partners for all these cloud platform, and we are the number one supplier for all the cloud platform. Since last 2 years, they are shipping it. Not only for the three key cloud partners we are working very smoothly on all these platforms. So the hardware which we are supplying, it is working seamlessly. It is a plug and play device. Like one of our gentlemen in our panel, they said that if you are using a smartphone, right? So we are claiming that if you are using a smartphone, you can use our video collaboration devices, right? Because scalability is a challenge among all of us, that you need to educate your users so that they can use the devices. It is not about the deployment only. You have to make them trained that they can use easily. So if you can use your smartphones like WhatsApp calling and all, so I'm sure your employees can use our video collaboration devices very easily. It is just like a one-touch button and you'll join your meetings. Small room solution. It is meant for a sitting capacity of 5 to 6 people. We are having a solution for medium rooms up to 10 to 12 people, and a large room which will go up to 45 people. All the clouds means we are having a bundle solution for Google Cloud, Microsoft, and Zoom. A part of boardroom solution, we are having this new model called TAP. So it is a controller device which we call TAP. So it'll cater all your AV needs, starting from a controller, your light controls, your curtain controls, everything. You can integrate any third-party software as well with the device, which is having a multiple mounting options. You can mount on a table, on a wall, anywhere you can mount this device. So this meant for a 24/7 operation and compatible with all your cloud. This is the number one huddle room solution, which is called Logitech Meetup. It's got a 4K lens camera, inbuilt speakerphone mic, and the field of vision for this camera is 120 degree. So without changing your setup of a huddle room, you can fix this device to any huddle room and enable that room with a video. So very simply, it can mount over a wall, and one USB and HDMI cable will come to your laptop, and you can enable your huddle room with a video. It's got an inbuilt speaker and 3 mic drivers individual, and it comes with a remote. Second product is Rally. So it is the hot talk nowadays for video conferencing. It's got a 4K camera, a 15x zoom, digital zoom, right? It's got a mic and individual mic and individual speakerphone. It is a PTZ camera, and you can mount this camera in all 3 verticals, parallel, horizontal. You can mount this camera and it will rotate the picture automatically. Very sturdy camera, and we have we have put it our demo. You can check the demo after my presentation. So in this camera, there is a by default 2 mics in the bundle, and you can extend the mic up to 7. So diameter for one mic is approximately 10 feet. So up to 50 people, if you add 7 mics, or if you have a training room, right? You can put the device with a 7 mic and it will cater. Means I have given these devices to lots of IT companies for their training rooms, and they are using it for up to 60-70 people. In Genpact, they are using this device for a 70-seater training room, and it will meant for all your size and shape of the table. Means it comes with attachment. You can place it on your U shape, V shape, and any kind of a table you have nowadays in your boardrooms. So we have a solution for that. Very interesting thing, there is a software called Logitech Sync. So suppose if you have 100 deployment across India or across globe, so by using this software, you can monitor, you can manage and insight your entire Logitech deployment across the globe. Mind it is the free of cost software, and competition and other brands, they are charging for these softwares, but we never charge for any AI softwares we have for our cameras. So this is free of cost, and through which you can monitor, plus you can update your devices. You can check which devices are working or not for each and every location. Very useful for the guys who is sitting on admin front. Very useful software. The camera comes with lots of AI softwares. These are again a free software. Right light, it means the camera can adjust the lighting automatically as per the lights available in the boardroom. So it will give you the perfect picture by optimizing the light resource. Camera controls, right sight. So camera means there is a concept for auto framing and auto capturing. So that is not there, but camera can put you on a right frame automatically. Suppose in a boardroom, 10 or 12 people are there. So it will frame those people in a right frame, right? And suppose sometime there is 2 users only on a big room. So the camera will automatically focus those 2 persons in a right frame. So it is a by default software we have. And right sound, beam formation technology is there in the mic. So the guy is speaking, the guy who is speaking, the beam will form and it will automatically capture the voice. Definitely, as I told you, the category we are there in the market, we are number one, and we are proudly claiming the offering we have, we are claiming number one position in each and every category we have, right? Great quality products, yes, we have a great quality product with affordable pricing so that you can scale these products, you can use these devices for a mass deployment. And all the products for VC comes with a 2-year replacement warranty. So there is no repair, we don't do any repair for our product. So anything goes faulty, we'll simply change it. So you'll be getting a replacement warranty for all your hardwares. Go-to-market strategy is very clear that we are among few companies who can offer their accessories across globe. So that is how we are able to deploy mass deployment for lots of MNCs, lots of banks, lots of IT companies. And they are the guys who are converting from 323, H.323. So lots of customer opting for Logitech hardware along with their choice of cloud. Definitely our vision is to enable each and every screen with a video, each and every machine with a video, whether it is used for a personal conferencing or for a boardroom conferencing. And that is what our vision is all about. And thank you very much. This is all from my side, and we can talk over the drink. Drink has been started now, and we have a live demo here, so you can go and have a look. We have put a demo with Sky for Business. We have put a demo with Zoom. You can go and can see the live demos, and for more we can discuss over the drink. And if anyone wants a demo at their premises, at their office, that can be done. So we'll talk about those facilities and those cases one-to-one. And thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot. Please give a huge round of applause for yourself, everyone. So it's very cold outside. Still, you guys have joined us over here. Thank you so much for that. And yes, with this was your host, Ankita Mandal, signing off for the evening. And the dinner is in the next hall, and cocktail and snacks will be served here. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for being here with us. Thank you.